1984 by George Orwell. It was published in 1949. It's one of the most famous works of Orwell. The book talks about or fictionalizes a society that is completely totalitarian. The whole world is somehow divided into three parts: geographically, politically, and socially. One of those powers is called Oceania. Oceania is also where this story is set. It is a completely totalitarian state where all the powers belongs to one authority or the party. The party is just referred to as the party or by its name, the IngSoc. As I said, it's a completely suppressive rule. The states strives to control each and every aspect of their subjects' life, from language to entertainment to even what they are thinking. The head of the party is called the Big Brother. He's supposed to be everywhere and looking at everything that you do. And just to drop a point, it's pretty amazing that in 1949, where there was no such concept of digitalization or CCTV cameras, Orwell is laying ideas or thinking of ideas that are only possible through the technology that came after years or decades after when he died. And here Orwell, according to me, is not really prophesizing how in 1949 that how the world would look after 30 or so years in 1984, but rather he is intelligently telling his reader that what are the tools, what are the ways, what are the tricks that powers or authorities can use to exploit you, to make you agree, surrender your liberties, and be agreeable to things that are otherwise really, really evil and against everything that you otherwise stand. He has laid down a lot of ideas very intelligently, many minor things and few major things. I decided to take up two of the major ideas that he mainly focused on, and the two major tools that IngSoc or the party was utilizing to completely suppress and control every aspect of the life in this dystopian society. The number one tool is propaganda. The word is not new to any of us. We all know propaganda is everywhere, it's happening everywhere, but do we even realize what are the aspects of it, how much we are affected or impacted by it? In Oceania, IngSoc like really, really mastered the art of propaganda to, levels that probably anybody in this realistic world have ever reached. They control every aspect of the information that exists in the society, whether it was books, news, entertainment, even the language was defined by the government. Speaking psychologically, your mind utilizes your language to shape your thoughts, and if your language is being controlled, your thoughts are being controlled. If your thoughts are being controlled, your action is being controlled. So who? So Bade Bhaiya or the Big Brother was completely controlling unimpededly every aspect of the information or the propaganda under his grips. There was no counter versions of information available in that society. And they had their own dictionary, newspeak, but the newspeak was way ahead more than just redefining or altering or removing a word. There was concept, there was philosophy behind it. They were actively trying to reshape people's mind to believe each and everything and go away from the reason. Another thing that is coupled with the newspeak was the double thing. Double thing, as the word says, double thing was basically oxymoronic ideas and ideologies that were propagated in the society to the public. War is peace, ignorance is strength, freedom is slavery. Now, thinking here, we all think these, oh, but because they were again and again propagated, reached out, delivered to the audience. If you look around, this technique is utilized by governments, groups, societies, or sometimes even individuals in relationship to exploit others, blocking secondary source of information and only making the person rely on your version of the truth. When that happens, you control that person. And with such tools and powers at the disposal of any authority, they can make you believe anything. Lies repeated often enough are often becomes the truth. This just requires a bit of active thought to look around your world, and you realize how this is being still practiced today. This guy, because I think nobody mastered the art of propaganda, evil propaganda, as much as they did, and he actually dedicated one whole chapter to propaganda in his autobiography. So that tells you how much important he thought it is. Propaganda must appeal to the feelings of the public rather than to their reasoning powers. Feelings of the public rather than to their reasoning powers. And to add further to it, Goebbels, the Minister of Propaganda in Nazi Germany, said it would not be impossible to prove with sufficient reputation and psychological understanding of the people concerned that a square is in fact a circle. They are mere words, and words can be molded until they cloth ideas and disguise. Now give it a thought. All the political slogans that you have heard and believe, and then again give it a thought and think about how much sense do they even make? Do they even make sense? No, they are mostly some abstract, incoherent phrases made by repetitive usage to represent an idea which the party or the group wants to propagate and embed in your minds. They are often sweet words but bitter meanings, call to your emotion rather than your reason. Propaganda is the power. Done articulately enough, it can make masses believe anything. Collective wisdom is often overestimated. As a famous philosopher Karl Marx said, I mean, not that guy, another guy, but famous, very good philosopher, socio-political thinker, said, sees the means of propaganda as whoever defines the influx of information controls all those who depend over it, namely everyone. Hierarchies, groups, and belonging. This is what our society is made of. The us and them is basically how your group, the in group, interacts with the other group, the outer group. Now, what constitutes a group is a very vast and complex topic that involves genetics and psychology, so I cannot cover it here, but just to explain, group identities can be fluid, and in some contexts they can be strict. Your genetic group identity is of course strict, you cannot change it, but otherwise your political, religious, and socio-political group identities can be changed. Your group identities based on your religion might be different than the ones that those are based on your race or political views. Sometimes they can be conflicting, sometimes they can be complementing, and sometimes they can be overlapping also. Not having a clear group identity, or at worst not at all having one, this is what actually leads to having an identity crisis. The root of identity crisis is just not knowing where do you belong. Now, us versus them is very much genetic also, because they are required for your survival through your socio-evolutionary perspective. But other than them, the political version of us and them is often shaped by your surrounding, your parents or whoever brought you up. However, there are few or many who also jump to the fence and go on explore other identities. Now, the interesting part of us and them, it's not always used to suppress them, but is equally used to suppress us. The proclus mindset that we are always in competition to our competitors who are them, we have to beat them, we have to be better than them, or else they will overrun us, they will kill us. This is how the power-ups fool those who are down. They always keep them in constant fear of them. If you don't support us, they will come and they will kill you, they will destroy your culture, they will destroy your families, and in return those below, of course, they don't have a choice, or they think they do not have a choice, and they are ready to give their liberties. This is where the surveillance starts. This is where the support of unjust laws start. This is where people ready and agree to give those in power to right to kill, and make unjust laws, do evil things, submit their liberties, surrender their rights, because more than any of it, what is more required is to survive. And if they won't support power ups in all this, those dams will come and they will eat you up. Now, this idea of trading rights for security isn't clear one. It exists in all the society, even what we call the most fairer societies, which are based on democracy, liberty, and freedom. As one of the founding fathers of this modern society, Rousseau, mentioned in his book, The Social Contract, each gives himself to everybody, so that in third place he gives himself to nobody. And since every associate acquires over every associate the same power he grants to every associate, for himself each gains an equivalent for all that he loses, together with greater power to protect what he possesses. Each of us puts into the common pool and under the sovereign control of the general will his person and all his power, and we as a community take each member onto ourselves as an individual part of the whole. This explains the rule. This explains that this is required for the society. Without a bit of surrender on an individual part, you might not be able to achieve the society, a free society, a secure society we all wish for. But we also see how an unbalanced approach to this can lead to the power ups ending up exploiting us. In Oceania, IngSoc deployed this tool by telling all its subjects that they are in constant threat of the other two conflicting ideologies or powers in the world, the East Asia and Eurasia. And if the subjects do not support the oceanic power or the IngSoc, these two powers will come, and because they hate us, they are uncivilized people, they are so different from us, they are uncultured. All these socio-negative terms are often associated with them, and hence a lot of people, the general public in Oceania, was willingly surrendering all these powers to the power-ups, which were the IngSoc or the Big Brother. Now, bifurcating groups by us and them ideologies is not very difficult as it might look. You just need to find the end of a thread, and then you can build on it, and then you can achieve greater things from these small starts. Consider all of the humanity as the earth, the globe earth, and these different globes as different tectonic plates. Often the differences between them are hidden and nobody notices it, and we seem to believe that they are all one, but we all know how these innate differences, when they are activated, what disasters can they brought on everyone. Belonging is the Achilles heels of the human, as an individual or as a society. human being reeks belonging. The whole political spectrum is based on this, whether it's right or left, they are all based on the basic rules to make people belong. There's a strong urge, the evolutionary urge inside everybody, for them to have an identity, for them to know from where do they belong. The lower a person's sense of identity will be, the lower their moral compass will be, and higher their identity crisis. Just look around you and notice how many people are ready to belong to groups that otherwise do not make sense. There is probably an ist for everything. There are people who might be chairist or tablist, and it's not because they necessarily about care about the the rights of the chair or the table. By the way, these are just metaphorical. You can identify the real ones. It's not necessarily they care about the rights of a chair or the table. It's just that being part of the group, being part of that so-called ideology, make them feel that they have a purpose in life, that they belong to a group, and they are not alone in this whole void. And how easy would be to exploit such a big need. Those who are smart enough to identify, they are also smart enough to exploit it. All they need is just to give the idea to the general that they can make them belong to something bigger, stronger, something that is meaningful, that will give meaning to their existence. And you will see how herds and herds will go running towards them, is coming to them, is coming to their ideology and agreeing to whatever they say. How the sociological concept of us and them is incorporated and exploited by the totalitarian or unjust regimes to subdue their subjects.